spotted, if you've been watching my videos, that we've been living in Nairobi for the last 5-6 months, and we've just moved back to our flat in London. And it feels really nice to be home, although I have to say I'm already missing Nairobi, even the crazy Nairobi traffic, which I did not think I would miss. But there are really nice things about being home too. All my local cafes that I go to, the Lido, Brockwell Lido, which is the best thing in South London, I think. And of course my piano. Here's my piano, which I was really missing, I have to say. I had an upright in Nairobi, but it's just not quite the same. So I am very, very happy to be reunited with this beautiful piano. So this is actually kind of an exciting time because I finished a few big projects that I've been working on for the last year or two. CD, a book that I've been writing, which is due out in September. So those things have been taking quite a lot of my attention, and now it is time for me to choose some new repertoire, which is one of my favourite bits. I do have a few concerts left over the autumn with the repertoire from the CD, and I do love that repertoire, but I also feel like maybe it's time for something a bit different, because I've been working on it so intensively. So I thought I'd make a really little video today about how I choose repertoire. Sometimes I do get specific requests from the venue or promoter. This might be like for a festival, for example, if they have a theme or a specific focus on one composer. So then I would kind of think about how I could make something really interesting and beautiful out of that. With concertos, it's nearly always requested. So the orchestra will have a specific concerto in mind, and they'll just basically contact me and say, are you free on the 22nd of November to play Rachmaninoff 2 or whatever? And I say yes or no. So that's pretty simple. But with the recitals, I usually do have pretty much free choice over what I play. So this is a really interesting part of being a pianist, in my view, because the balance of trying to continue growing and challenging and learning new things, that's quite a strong drive for me. I absolutely love learning new repertoire. But then I also need to think about, what balance is in a programme, what things go with what, and also not giving myself too much new stuff at one time. So I usually try and kind of balance out stuff that I've played before with new things. So there's quite a lot to think about, but I really enjoy that programming part. Anyway, right now, as I mentioned, I've got a really nice space, sort of, we've moved continent. I've got some new creative space in my brain at the moment. So it feels like sort of a moment of possibility when I can choose what direction I want to go in for the next year or so. So in fact, the first thing I did, basically, when we got home, was to spend some time just playing through lots of repertoire, basically just sight reading. I mean, it doesn't sound amazing, but it's enough for me to kind of get the feel of the pieces. And generally when I do this, certain pieces will jump out at me and really grab me and say, you have to learn me. And it's not really in my control. It kind of depends on my mood and what's happening in life at that time. So right now, I've been feeling, quite introspective and thoughtful. I think probably partly to do with moving back, partly to do with obviously the year that we've all had, and having done 3 major projects and basically completed those. There's a kind of slightly, inward looking feeling for some reason for me at the moment. Like I want to find a feeling of centeredness again. lots has been changing, I think. So in the music that I'm playing, I'm looking for this kind of purity and focus. So that's kind of what's been going on in my mind. And so then when I sat down and started playing things, I played some Brahms pieces, and I just knew straight away that this is what I'm going to be focusing on. It's quite hard to explain the certainty with which I knew this. So I've chosen Brahms piano pieces, opus 117 and opus 119. So that's 3 pieces in the first set and 4 pieces in the second set. And as 2 sets, they kind of sit together really well. The first set is extremely inward. It's quite dark. It's so deeply emotional. But there's this feeling of immense comfort and upliftingness in the music from Brahms. Like, he totally sees me and understands how I feel. And then the second set, opus 119, starts in a very inner space as well, very explorative. And gradually throughout the 4 pieces, it kind of blossoms and opens up into this huge outpouring of energy and almost jubilation and passion in the 4th one. So I think together they work really well. But I was thinking that to play them all together in one half of a concert would be quite a lot of Brahms all in one progression. So I had the idea to do the first set before the interval, which would be kind of leave people in this quite inward contemplative state, and then to open the second half with the second set, which kind of then, brings us back out into the second half. So I'm really excited about that combination, actually. And so then I had to try and think what I would put with those Brahms pieces to make a concert programme. I felt like, because the Brahms is so somehow soft and dark and rich, there's like a thick texture in Brahms, and it needed the clarity and freshness of Mozart. That just, to me, that works. It's like a good balance. And so I was playing through the Mozart sonatas, and I remembered that the A minor sonata is one that I've wanted to learn for ages, and actually it is perfect. It's a great foil to the Brahms. So I enjoyed playing through that, and as I was playing it, I suddenly realised that a perfect pairing with that one would be the Schubert early A major sonata, D664. I've actually played this one before, so it fulfills my criterion of not playing everything new. And this Schubert sonata is luminous and uplifting and joyful and full of life and light. And so I'm going to put that after the Brahms. And I think actually that is an incredibly beautiful combination and has a real emotional kind of arch through the concert, which is often what I'm aiming for. So that is going to be my core repertoire for the next year or so, and then around that I can make different pairings from the different pieces. So for example, I've been playing a lot of Schumann recently. I love Schumann, and I think I could make a very beautiful programme combining the Brahms with some Schumann pieces. I think the Mozart would go really well with some Mendelssohn. There's a kind of parity between those two composers. They were both very young prodigies, and there's a sense of lightness and sparkle, but also melodic genius, I think, with both composers, and they go quite well together. So I was thinking maybe some of the songs without words would be very, very beautiful after the quite intense A minor sonata. So those are my ideas for the next year, roughly, of recitals. And of course there's going to be some concerts where I bring in other music that responding to requests or themes. But I'm feeling very excited about getting deeper into the Brahms especially, and relearning the Schubert sonata as well, because I played it a lot when I was a teenager. I played it as part of my programme for the Young Musician of the Year. So I do know it really well, but it is a totally different experience when you come back to it 15 years later. So I think I'm going to probably play it quite differently this time, and that's always extremely interesting to discover. So I am going to be, over the next few months, probably studying the scores all around my cafes that I go to, and I'm also looking forward to visiting Steinway Hall as well in Marylebone, which is sometimes where I go to practice just for a change of scene, because I'm a Steinway artist. I'm really lucky that I get to use their pianos there to practice on. It's very kind, and so it does give me a nice break from being in the house, and especially when the children are around, it's nice to go and have some, focused peace and quiet. So I'll certainly be enjoying that now that we're back in London.